Hey guys, Feuerrm here, and today I have a very special video for you guys. Afiq has given me some races in his 6-star gold maxed Chiron, which tops out at rank 4755. As you can see here, every single stage is maxed with all upgrades and import parts applied. That must have been quite expensive. Now, the reason I want to make this video now is so that we can have a video of this car while it really still is king, before the Jesco is released, which should be happening very, very soon, and if people's speculation are right, perhaps tomorrow. I want to show this car in all its glory before it is presumably dethroned. Now, of course, people aren't going to be able to get or max the Jesco right away. I assume we'll be able to 3 or 4 star it in its special event, just like we were able to do with, say, the Regera or Terzo or pretty much other recent special event. But given that the Jesco can reach 300 miles per hour at stock with nitro, which is something that no other car in the game can do even when maxed, I think it's safe to say that even at lower stars, that could be a formidable car on some more top speed oriented tracks, if you can get used to its sort of bad other stats. I think at whatever star the Jesco is at, it's going to drive very similarly to the Regera at that same star, just with a much higher top speed. So those are some of my predictions about the Jesco. I will give some more of my final predictions before the event comes out later on in this video and throughout it. Now let's actually focus on the car that Afiq is testing, the Chiron. Now, all of the races in Legend League are 2 laps, and all of the second laps were very boring, so I decided to cut them pretty much all out. We do take the victory in this first race against a Regera at nearly 4,000 rank, an FXXK, as well as a Huracan and a couple of Corvette Grand Sports. Interestingly, those last 3 cars did better than the Regera. You see, even though the Regera is currently the fastest car in the game, it won't be anymore after the Jesco releases, it is not that easy to drive. The Chiron, on the other hand, just drives amazingly. Its nitro efficiency could be better, but pretty much everything else about it is top-notch, and just makes for a really fun car. You don't really have to work too hard to get it to go fast. Oh, by the way, in my video about the Aperta, when I said its acceleration was close to that of the Chiron, I was mistaken. My Chiron at 4-star has close to the acceleration of the Max Aperta, but the Chiron at max has about an 84 acceleration, which is a good few points higher. Oh, and random side note, before I forget to talk about it, those of you who have been around for many years probably know that I have a stop motion channel called Fury, which I upload LEGO stop motion to. Well, in the next few days, something should be coming out on there, so definitely keep an eye on that if you're at all interested. And Afiq again takes the victory in this race. Honestly, what do you expect with the top car in the game driven by one of the top players in the game? Interesting story, Afiq actually gave me 10 sequential races in the Chiron. Now, there are only 8 races in this video, and there are a couple reasons for that. Number 1, 10 races would have made this video quite long, and number 2, this car is so extremely good that it gets so far ahead so quickly that so many of the races become sort of boring. So I left the more interesting ones in the video, and in the 2 that I took out, there weren't even any other S-Class cars, so you can imagine not much really happened interesting in those races. That's just sort of what happens when you drive a car this good in a rush season, because this is a rush classic season, and there are multiple problems with that in this case. In Legend League, a problem is that, well, oftentimes you do not get much good competition, because there's people in their B and A class cars that have just played a lot and won a good number of races and gotten up to Legend League. Because you don't lose points, you can only gain them. Unless you come in last, in which case you lose 2, but that's not too much. Anyway, a lot of those cars are the ones that you will face in Legend League in a Rush Classic series, so I really hope that in the next Classic multiplayer season, Gameloft does not make it Rush series, so that races will just be generally more competitive. And if they do that, I will have a lot more motivation to get up to Legend League myself, because in the past few Rush ones, I've gotten to Platinum and then stopped pretty much. But thank you Afiq for getting up there so you could test this car. In this race, he comes in first again ahead of this FXXK, Corvette Grand Sport, and other just B and A class cars, the sorts of things that I would generally find in Platinum. Now let's see just how far ahead the Chiron gets on one of its best tracks in the game, Mountain Poles. This one has so many long straight sections where it can just maintain its top speed, and the opposite of it, Frozen Route, is also one of those sorts of tracks. Now at the beginning, because there's some ramps like that, it doesn't get ahead too quickly, but then here it really starts going. At max with nitro, this car can go somewhere between 285 and 290 miles per hour, which is extremely good, just not quite as good as the Regera Chiron or the new Jesco. The thing is though, rarely do you ever get up to that speed except on tracks like this one. Top speed above 250 miles per hour honestly doesn't come into play as often as you might think it would in this game. That's how you have cars like the Huracan and Corvette beating the Regera on some tracks, simply because the Regera can't get up to its top speed, or at least not long enough to make up for those other cars' much better handling. But the Chiron, with its great handling, great acceleration, and pretty good nitro efficiency at max, has no problems reaching or at least getting close to its top speed. Afiq comes in first here by 10 seconds and counting. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if those other cars are 20 or more seconds behind. Now let's see how the Chiron does on mountain poles reversed, frozen route. Now in this one there is a 4242 Fenner Super Sport, so there is another S-Class car in this race. Now it doesn't have as good of acceleration as the Chiron, and neither do the other cars in this race, so Afiq starts in first and manages to stay in first. Well, at this point you can tell for the entire race, getting far ahead just 15 seconds in. As Afiq told me himself, the intensity of these races comes mainly from the driving of the car and just how fast and speedy and quick it is around the turns, and not necessarily about the actual competition. This car is one that it is extremely satisfying to watch when it is in good hands, and I honestly think that there will not be a car that is as generally fun to drive and fast and just overall good in general to everybody in the game as the Bugatti Chiron. Which of course I say right as the car wrecks. What nice timing. That seems to happen on a lot of my videos. I say something good about the car, and then it just wrecks. So the thing is about the Jesko, while I believe it will technically become king on a good lot of tracks, it just won't be as fun to drive as the Chiron, definitely, and not as easy to drive either. So I would still say in multiplayer, the Chiron is definitely going to be the way to go, unless the Jesko has some fake stats or something. Afiq comes in first again here, with one of the VLFs actually beating the Fenner here. Not entirely sure how, because the Fenner has a good 30 miles per hour more top speed. Maybe he had a problem along the way somewhere. Now for a race on Scotland against no other S-Class cars, but something interesting does happen in this race. So, more predictions about the Jesko. If you go into the garage, you will see that it requires a key to unlock rather than blueprints, although blueprints will definitely still be required in order to start up. How you will obtain that key, I do not exactly know, however, it'll definitely be in a special event. And when the event releases, you bet I'm going to try to find out as much as I can about it, so you guys have the best chance of getting and starting up the car. There, if it goes a bit too high, that has happened to me far too many times. It is very annoying. It allowed a couple of other cars to catch up sort of close, but if it goes around here using the brake trick to get nitro, then goes up the ramp and proceeds to get quite far ahead again. That is another place where this car really does shine. It is quite forgiving in mistakes, definitely more so than a lot of the other top S-Class cars. And while the Chiron is generally easy to drive, it can have some physics issues. Like, for example, on wall riding, it often flips on its side and wrecks you. So perhaps wall riding is something you may want to avoid in this car. Afiq here comes in first by a long shot, but let's see how he does on Caribbean against two other S-Class cars, a Egoista and a Terzo. Now, they're below 4,000 rank, so it probably won't be much of a problem. Or will it? The race starts off fairly normally, with the Chiron getting ahead in the beginning and always, then Afiq jumping up here, which is generally best way through here. But then upon landing, I think he accidentally drifts too far to the right, which slows him down quite a lot, allowing the Terzo to catch up and slam him to the side and knock him down. Now, the Terzo's top speed is nowhere near close to the Chiron's top speed, so given that and the fact that this car, the Chiron, can get around the turns of the Caribbean without any problem, it's only a matter of time. Now for a few more Jesko predictions, because I'm trying to pull them all together in this video. I predict that the A12 and Ginetta will come out during the Jesko special event, and probably the Ginetta will be a car hunt, and the A12 will be a token pack only car, because that's just been the pattern for the past two special events. They've had two new cars in this special event along with the main one, and one of them, usually the slower one, has been a car hunt, and the faster one has been token packs only. For example, in the Aperta special event, the Targa was a car hunt, and the SLR was token packs. Afiq catches up to and takes revenge on this Terzo who knocked him down earlier in the race, and it is just a piece of cake from here on out. And after a fairly uneventful second lap, he does manage to come in first by quite a long shot, as in all of the races. Just an amazing car overall. You can see that all those players back there are still racing. Now, the same Terzo that was in this race that knocked Afiq down and then he knocked down later is in this final race as well. So let's see how it goes here. And now for a teaser and a final prediction of the Regera event. Something is coming that people have been waiting for quite a while now, since last year I believe. And as for my final prediction, the Jesco event will most likely last around a month, just like the Aperta one. I can't exactly imagine it being any shorter. Oh yeah, and be saving up your tokens. This is not a speculation, this is pretty much a guarantee, given that all the special events in the past have been very token heavy. Now they do usually give you lots of credits and tokens during them. I'm just warning you guys, you want to have many thousands of tokens saved up for this if you want to get the car and star it up a decent amount. And now it's time for my general review about the Bugatti Chiron. There's really nothing much bad I can say about it other than its nitro efficiency could be slightly better. Its top speed, acceleration, and handling are all absolutely superb. If there's ever a place where you can use any car, whether it be in multiplayer or in an S-Class Elite event or anything else, I would definitely choose this one over pretty much anything else, except for the Regera or Jesco on some more top speed oriented tracks in events, but this one will just generally blow everything away in multiplayer. Thank you all for watching, thank you to Afiq for these races, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed and would like to see that new music video sooner, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!